It's the 17th century. The Dutch are travelling down the southwest coast of Australia in their ships, exploring. They come to a little island. On that island, they see lots of little brown furry animals hopping around everywhere. They think, gee, that's a big rat. Let's call the island Rat's Nest. Now, thankfully, for West Australian tourism, that name doesn't stick, and we now know that island to be Rot Nest, and the animal to be the quokka, as we can see there. Yes, lots of attention for the quokkas, isn't it? Now, the quokka has really enjoyed an increase in its public profile over the last few years. This is mainly due to the quokka selfie craze. There's been a lot of international celebrities that have come over to the island to get photos with them. Unfortunately, I couldn't get any samples of those, but I was able to get a photo of a local Perth celebrity, our illustrious TEDx curator, Rob, showing... And he's showing that he isn't immune to the charm of the quokka as well. But what is a quokka if it isn't a large rat, which it isn't? It's a small marsupial. It's closely related to kangaroos and wallabies. The females have a pouch that they keep their young in. The young are called joeys, and they hop around like kangaroos and wallabies do as well. But what is it about this small marsupial that makes people travel from all around the world to visit this small little island 20 kilometres off the coast of Perth? Is it the fact that it's a really unique experience that you can get so close to a wild animal? Is it because that when they're eating or when they're looking up, it almost looks like they've got a big smile on their face, which has earned them the nickname of being the happiest animal in the world? Or is it just the fact that they are so damn cute? It's probably a combination of all these things that make people want to go see them. What I want to tell you about today is why I've got such a love for this species, and also dispel some myths about the quokka along the way. So I grew up here in Perth, and I was lucky enough that my parents regularly took me to holiday on Rottnest Island with my brothers. We had a great time over there, as you can see. That's good. That's comparative to a quokka photo, so I like that. You might be wondering which one I am. I am the blonde one. I am aware that the years haven't been too kind, but that late 80s fashion is still rocking, isn't it? It's amazing. So me and my brothers got to go over there a lot of times. We built some amazing childhood memories, whether it be going to the beaches, riding our bikes, arcades, mini golf, all those kind of things, which is pretty similar stuff to a lot of children's memories around the world. But what was the unique thing about this is we were doing all these things, making these great memories, and quokkas were all around us. On Rottnest Island, there can be up to 12,000 quokkas at the peak times. So any activity you're generally doing, there's a quokka around. So I was creating so many positive associations with this species as I grew up, and I started to think about, what do I want to do for a job? I immediately kind of started to gravitate towards maybe being an animal carer and looking after quokkas specifically. So I worked really hard, and I managed to get employed at Perth Zoo looking after the quokkas, and I'm now the quokka species coordinator. That means that I manage the breeding and genetics of all quokkas throughout zoos and wildlife parks in Australia. The reason for this breeding population is to ensure that there is a insurance for the Rottnest Island quokkas in case there's some kind of environmental disaster that befalls Rottnest Island. So it's really important, something I'm really proud of. Oh, thank you. I wasn't trying to get a clap for that either, so that's awesome. If you're one of the 500,000 visitors that come to Rottnest Island annually, you might think that one of the main staple parts of a quokka's diet is chips and pizza. Now, they go to a lot of effort to get this food, as do I sometimes. They jump up onto tables, get in and under your feet at the pub. They'll do a lot to get this food. It's not good for us. It's really not good for quokkas. So if you ever do go and visit the island and you want to get close to a quokka, don't be tempted by their cuteness. They'll look at you with these eyes and want that chip from your hand. Don't give in, okay? It's really not good for them. Someone really want to give them a chip, or...? They've actually got a really basic diet. They are what is known as a herbivore, so they're mainly feeding off vegetation like leaves and grasses and that kind of thing. At the zoo, we feed them a pellet diet, which is specifically designed for them. We put vitamin E powder on that pellet because they have got a natural deficiency. And we also give them plant material, as you can see these two quokkas tucking into. Now, that isn't just for their enjoyment. It actually helps strengthen their teeth and gums. It's almost like they're brushing their teeth. So you'll see them try and get some pizza and chips when you're on the island, but you might also see quokkas not doing much. When you go over for a day trip, they're just lying on the ground looking pretty sleepy, lazy, that kind of thing. They're not being lazy. This is their natural sleeping time. A lot of people don't realise, but the majority of Australian animals aren't active during the hottest parts of the day. Quokkas are no exception. They're more active at night time. They're mainly a nocturnal species. So if you're ever lucky enough to stay over the night at Rottnest, when the sun goes down, you'll see a whole new world come alive, the world of the quokka. When they wake up at night time, they'll try and find some delicious grass to feed from. There's not much water on Rottnest Island, so they love the lovely lawns that have been planted there. It's got lots of reticulation on it, it's full of water, so a male will find his girls and travel on down to the grass. And they'll be having a feed, having a good night, and then you'll get a young, cheeky little quokka come over, a little subordinate one. And he's thinking, oh, I'm going to try something out tonight. I'm going to try and eat some of his grass. I'm going to try and go on a date with some of his girls. Now, this is when we see a big change in quokka behaviour. The males turn into something that a documentarian has described as a fluffy little ninja. It's not a joke. This is something that is a sight to behold when you see a male quokka fight another one. He jumps up, he kicks, he bites, he scratches, he does whatever he can to beat up this little cheeky quokka and send him on his way and protect his girls. They are so aggressive with one another that in the zoo we can't keep two males together. They will kill each other. It's that bad. So, happiest animal in the world, I'm not sure is a good title for them. Maybe the angriest little animal in the world is a little bit more apt. So, in the zoo we can't keep the males together, just no-go zone. But they do breed readily in the zoo. So we can put a male in with females. Now, we don't need to set the mood or anything like that for them. We don't need to light candles, romance, or, none of that stuff is needed for the quokkas. But what we do need to do is organise where they go on their dates. So if we try and put the male into the female's area, he's obviously very keen, but they're a little bit standoffish. They don't want to share their food. They don't want to share their water. They've got their favourite resting spots. They don't want to deal with this male. Over time, he might wear them down, but it's not as successful as when we introduce the females to the male's area. He's completely happy to share everything. Come on in, girls. Make yourselves at home. No food, water, resting places, no problem. As long as he gets that chance to mate. So we have a lot more success that way. Now, they do breed readily on Rottnest Island as well. As I mentioned earlier, there are 12,000 quokkas at some stages on Rottnest. But every now and then it doesn't go to plan. A few years ago, we were contacted by Rottnest Island rangers who had found a deceased female that had a joey in her pouch. The joey was fine, but needed someone to care for it. So Rottnest Island contacted us at Perth Zoo and said, can anyone raise this animal? And okay, if someone has to, I'll do it. No, I jumped at the chance. It was a really big opportunity for me, even though it was a sad situation. And so I had to become a quokka daddy. It was now my job to look after it. So I brought her home with me and had to feed her throughout the night. She was so small that she fit in the palm of my hand. She was that tiny. Pretty cute. So I didn't mind staying up throughout the nights feeding her. It was very rewarding and a kind of pinch yourself moment in your career that you're actually getting paid to do this. But as she grew in size, she also grew in confidence, to the point that on cold mornings she'd crawl up into my vest and snuggle up in there and put her head out, feeling nice and safe and comfortable in there. And then she started to get a bit cheekier. She started realising that quokkas are actually good climbers. She'd climb up onto my shoulder to give me lots of kisses. She loved just kissing the face, licking the arms, and she earned the nickname of Mick Licks. Anyone that would come in to say hello got licked by her, which is a pretty cool experience. Now, I didn't raise this animal all by myself. There was a lot of my colleagues that helped out, did some babysitting duties, such as when I got bitten by a Tasmanian devil and had to have emergency surgery. So it was a team effort to raise her to her independence. She's an adult now, she's still at Perth Zoo, and she's actually had a little joey of her own. So she's contributing to the breeding program. So now I'm a quokka granddaddy. And a very proud one at that. So I've been speaking a lot about Rottnest Island quokkas and Perth Zoo quokkas, and it's all been a little bit of fun. But what a lot of people don't know, this is locals and people all around the world, that there are quokkas on the mainland in the southwest too. Now, this is only mainland quokka in any zoo or wildlife park in the world, to my knowledge. She's even giving us a bit of a smile for the camera. There's hardly any left in the wild on the mainland either. So the area that you find mainland quokkas in is much bigger than Rottnest Island. but the amount of quokkas within that area is less than half than what's on Rottnest. So there's about 3,000 to 4,000 mainland quokkas, and as I mentioned earlier, about 12,000 Rottnest Island quokkas. Why is there such a disparity in the numbers? The main reason is us. Mainland quokkas live in really specific habitat. Nice, dense, thick undergrowth is where they feel safe away from humans and safe from predators. As the human population has grown in Perth, the quokka mainland population has declined because we're building things like roads, shopping centres, houses, those kind of things that are needed, but definitely not needed for the mainland quokka. So it's reducing their habitat, and it's also doing something called fragmenting their habitat, which means in the past they could have easily moved between the areas they needed to go to access new mates, new feed areas, those kind of things. But now there's a big main road in the way, and they can't do that anymore. So that means there's lots of small populations of mainland quokkas throughout the area. So it's not just habitat destruction and fragmentation that are affecting them. Australia suffers a lot from bushfires, as most people are aware. So the bushfires not only destroy the habitat and potentially kill the quokkas, but if the quokkas manage to get away and want to return to that habitat, it's been completely thinned out. There's not that dense, thick undergrowth that they like to live in and feel safe in. There's also feral pigs that dig through the dirt, throw up all the grass and the plants and all that kind of stuff and thin it out again as well. This makes mainland quokkas extremely vulnerable to introduced predators like foxes and cats. So there's so many issues that the mainland quokka face that their extroverted cousins on Rottnest Island don't have to deal with. What's been done to help mainland quokkas, you might ask? So I'm part of the quokka recovery team, as are other Rottnest Island, Perth Zoo, Parks and Wildlife staff, some professors and lecturers from universities and some private individuals. We're doing a few different things to try and prevent the decline of the mainland quokka, whether that be public education, trying to fix the habitat, population monitoring, trying to alter fire regimes, or also feral animal control. But I have a really big worry that though quokkas might survive on Rottnest Island, and your children and your children's children could still holiday over there, form a bond with this species like I did, but when they grow up, they might want to help them, the mainland quokkas especially. There might not be any mainland quokkas left by that time. There's that few of them left. So it's up to the quokka recovery team to keep doing what we're doing, keep looking for new ideas to try and prevent this decline. But it's up to all of you to get the message out there that mainland quokkas exist and they need our help. Thank you.